you guys, welcome back to my channel for another video. As you can probably already tell from my voice, I am recovering from being sick, and that's what this video is going to be, getting my life somewhat back together after being totally out of commission for about 5 days. And I want to thank Hiya for sponsoring this video. So I think I can speak for all of us moms, especially us homeschooling moms, that being sick is probably one of the worst things ever. Thankfully for myself, I don't get sick very often, but whenever I do, it's always pretty extreme. That's just kind of the way it goes for me. So this video is not even going to scratch the surface of what I needed to do as far as digging myself out of the sick hole that I had basically no choice but to crawl down into. But this is my first attempt at coming out of it at. You can see I have wet hair, like I took a shower. I was doing everything I could because there were some things that had to be done, and that's what I needed to start with. This was also the week right before we were starting back to school, and I had all of these grand plans of checking off my to-do list and making sure everything was in tip-top shape, organized, squared away. Everyone's excited. I got great workouts in. Yeah, none of that happened. So the time that I got sick was right as my husband's pay schedule happened. So what I'm doing here is some budgeting and bills. We've taken on a lot of extra things with our oldest being in college this year and us taking care of that for her, as well as the kids all increasing their activities and all of these things. So I hadn't done budgeting for about a month since before we went on our RV road trip, and so I was due for that, and that is something that had to be done, and that is what I'm doing here, paying bills, itemizing things. I do it the old-fashioned way, but it works for me. So on the note of staying healthy and keeping our kids healthy, I want to introduce you guys to today's video sponsor, which is Hiya. Hiya has a daily greens plus superfoods greens powder, which is chocolate flavored, that you can mix with any milk to give your kids a nutrition boost that they probably are needing. Let's be real, kids are very picky when it comes to eating, especially those younger kids, and they may not be getting everything that you want them to get so that they can grow into healthy, strong teenagers, young adults, all of the above. So it's packed with over 50 superfood ingredients, all made from real food, and it tastes delicious. You guys can get 50% off your first order if you head to hiyahealth.com/graceandgrit. Again, that's hiyahealth.com/graceandgrit. All right, so next up, you guys are seeing me get my fridge menu board down to do some meal planning. I figured that since I still wasn't feeling very well on this day, that anything sitting down would be at least a good use of my time since I was out of bed. And we needed groceries, and I wanted to make sure we had our meals scheduled for the next week because we are starting back to homeschooling on Monday following this, so just right after the weekend. And so having meals set is huge, especially because everybody's activities are kicking off, the ones that were on break, and so certain nights are crock-pot nights, and I just needed to have all of the groceries. So normally throughout the school year, I will place my grocery order for pickup on Friday, my weekly grocery order, and then I'll throw in a Costco here or there. That's kind of been my system for the last year, and it works really well, so that'll be something that I continue. But yeah, got a little distracted with a cute background from Pinterest, but I did get all the meals planned, and I was placing my grocery order simultaneously. I also was answering a few emails in the midst of this as well, and writing down what I needed for my grocery list on the opposite side of the menu board. So here's a look at our menu for the next week. Super simple, but high protein and all healthy meals, and that feels good to have that checked off. I placed a delivery order, so the groceries would be arriving in a few hours after this, which allowed me to spend some much needed time in my planner. I run my entire business for YouTube out of my planner. I keep track of all of my kids' work, homeschool group, activities, like everything in that planner. And if I am not diligent about writing things down pretty much as they come out, I will forget. We will not be somewhere we need to be. And so there were a number of emails, texts, band group notifications that I needed to get written down. And so that is what I am working on here. Get my kids sick prior to our first day of homeschooling, which the jury's still out on that. I'm just praying that nobody gets it. I have pretty much stayed away from them entirely for the last 5 days. And so I know my youngest daughter was feeling kind of like she hadn't seen me in a while. I think it matters to her the most. So since I was doing better and I was washing my hands a million times, I knew she had wanted to make this pumpkin bread with me. We got this mix when we were out on our 2-week road trip, and we talked about how we wanted to make it to kind of kick off fall. And I decorated already the other day and ran out of time to make it that day, so it had been on my mind, but then of course I got sick and wasn't able to do it. So yesterday I asked her if she wanted to make that with me, and so we both made the pumpkin bread together, and it turned out so good. I can't link to that mix because I found it in a cute little store in a town probably many of you have never heard of, but Ferndale, California. It was the cutest Victorian small town, and we loved spending the day there on our RV trip this summer, right at the tip-top coast of California. So yeah, that's what we're doing here. Grocery delivery is hands down one of the most revolutionary things that has happened in the last 10 years. I often think about how when I had 4 small kids under the age of 4 and I had to go grocery shopping for our whole family, and there was literally no option for pickup or delivery. It was old-fashioned. Bring all the kids into the grocery store, go up and down every single aisle, and I often think about how much stress that would have relieved for me. As a mom of many littles, if I could grocery pick up. My sister-in-law tells me she doesn't know how I survived, and honestly, my kids were always really good, probably because I taught them to be, but it was quite the task. Let me know if you're a mom of older kids and you relate. But the Walmart delivery arrived. My voice on this day sounded even worse than it does right now, so I was not going to tell you guys a grocery haul, but here's a look at some of what I got from Walmart. Doing some dishes from our baking and cleaning and soaking all of the berries that I got. I actually got the berries from Costco. I did an Instacart delivery for just a few things from Costco. I wanted to do Walmart for main groceries this time, and then just a few things from Costco that are just astronomically priced anywhere else, and organic berries is one of those things. So yeah, I've got some food in my house. I've got a menu plan. I've got my planner filled out for the next week and caught up on all those texts and notifications. And that felt really good. The next thing on my list after this was to wash my bedding, my sheets, and switch them out for obvious reasons. I thought I pushed record on that. However, I didn't. So you're gonna have to trust me and take my word for it that I washed my linens, washed my towels, and also did a load of laundry as well. So this is kind of like a little reset for after mom has been sick. I will have a lot to catch up on as far as work goes, but this at least was one step in the right direction. Thank you guys so much for watching and supporting me, even though I've been sick. And, you know, I have deadlines and content that has to get out. So give this one a thumbs up, and don't forget to check out Hiya Health, 50% off your first order. The link is down in the description box, and I hope you guys are doing well, and I'll see you very soon. Bye, friends.